In this video I'm going to be talking about autumn tactics. Now it's just started to come into autumn, so it's the perfect time to start talking about it. There is a few things you can do. Most things will still work from summer at the beginning of autumn, but as you get back end of it, closer to winter, it does start to get a bit more frustrating, and there is a few things you can do to get more bites. So hopefully in this video you can learn something from it. If not, you're really doing it, and that is all you can do really. First one is soaking boilies in water. Now I normally do this on the back end of autumn, closer to winter. Also especially on waters that are clear, gravel pits or something like that. Any place that there's a little bit extra silt on the bottom as well, always helps. If you're fishing a commercial day ticket water, I'd say just make sure your baits are slightly soft, make sure you're not using anything hard. Just so they can break it down a bit easier and eat it much easier, especially as you're getting towards winter, it does help. So I normally soak them in water overnight, and then I add either a glug or a liquid to it, just so they soak in something extra, a boost. If you're just using just boilies that are slightly soft, again cover them in a coating of liquid and leave them and let them soak it in. As a brilliant tactic as well. Next thing I want to talk about is type of boilie to use in the autumn. Now, over the summer, I think nut bait really works really well. Fish meals work quite well as well, especially the height of summer. But in the autumn, I tend to use mainly fish meals. Some waters don't respond that well, but overall, I found that as you get closer to winter, you start to come off the real high attract oily fish meal ones and start to go on to ones that are less high in oils and stuff like that, but they still work even in winter and back of autumn. I use Carp Basics boilies, so I normally use red lobster at the beginning of autumn, and then I go on to ocean fruit closer to winter, and it normally pays off quite well. But I've had bites during freezing cold conditions in the winter on red lobster, so it doesn't always go the way that you think it's going to go. High oil baits do tend to work all year round really, but winter it's much more harder to get a bite because they can dew a lot. So that's something you don't do on a further sort of getting into winter as such. So yeah, stick to low oil fish meals on the back of autumn and high oil at the beginning. So the best colours to use in autumn. Now for me, yellow is number one. I always get bites on yellow. But on the back end of autumn, I've always done really well switching to pink. I don't know why it works. It's a bit of a weird one, but yellow just seems to not get as many bites, and I switch to pink and it perfectly just kicks off royally. Also purple as well is a good colour as well to try, but pink is usually the one I normally use, but I do know other colours do work. It's just some reason that sort of colour seems to just kick off at the end of autumn and into winter as well, which is a perfect one for winter as well. But some reason when it's starting to get really cold, just as we're going into winter, it really kicks off on the pink. Next one is solid bags. Everyone uses them, but I've had really good sessions in autumn on solid bags on commercial day ticket waters. Everyone's throwing that loads and loads of bait thinking it's going to kick off, and it doesn't, and then you turn on a solid bag and get a bite instantly. It just seems to happen. Also had some extra liquid into there as well, either some goo or some little bit of glug in there as well, just to give it an extra scent. Don't forget there's a lot of leaves and things, all sorts of silt on the bottom, especially as we're getting towards winter. Next one is Spod mix. Everyone uses a good old mix in the autumn. At the beginning of autumn, I do a lot of particle, hemp, sweet corn, tiger nuts, boilies, and pellets if I'm fishing a day ticket water. If I'm not, I tend to not use them as much. I think it does attract a lot of bream. If you're fishing lake with bream, don't use pellets. That's what I say. But a combination, the boilie and particle mix works really well. Now as we get towards the end of autumn, I tend to come away from spomming so much particle and boilie mix together. I tend to not do it as much, and I tend to just flick around a few boilies that I've obviously soaked in water, and that seems to get me a bite, or solid bags. They're the things I do in the autumn. Little changes, and if it's not one, it's the other. There's lots and lots of things in there that I normally do. Everything's pretty simple. It sounds simple, it is simple, but just also reading the water and knowing when to put a lot of bait in and not. If you turn up in the autumn and you're not totally sure, just see how cold the temperature of the water is. If it's really cold, then I'll just back off on the bait. Maybe slightly change your tactics while you're there, and trying to do something different. Maybe it's just all about having a bright colour and a few baits over the top, instead of actually putting loads and loads of bait in and absolutely ruining your fishing. So that is all I've got to say on the autumn tactics. I hope you like this video. I hope you get something from it. If not, it's been fun. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.